when the beat drops out.
What's up, guys? Ballistic Bomber Bunny here, back with some more Everlasting Summer, because I know how much you guys love it. I'm definitely going to finish this before anything else. So, we're getting back in. Together, with the camp leader, I went towards our cabin. I tried to think of why Shirk would go to the old camp. He is interested in robots and cybernetics, not scary stories and ghosts. Ooh, my tummy's growling. I don't know why, because I had pizza earlier. Like, not that long ago, like an hour ago. What does that boot have to do with that it? What? What? What does that boot have to do with that it? That hurt my brain. Remember how I decided to wait until something extraordinary would happen, and then I realized this is it. Sorry, I had to switch my headphones around. Oh god, I think I'll take a walk before bed. Just not a long one. Okay. When I reached the square, I understood that hanging around in the forest or something other strange place may not be that scary. But doing so in the dark, I didn't want to return to Olga's cabin, but I had to find a flashlight. For instance, there was one in the infirmary. I was glad I didn't spend my whole time reading the fashion magazine. So I'm just sneaking off on myself. The flashlight was found quickly, and in a few minutes, I was again standing out at the square, pulling myself together. I hope you guys can hear the dog barking in the background. I'm sorry about that. I just had to make the final decision before I entered the forest. Moving past the pioneers' cabins, down the forest path towards the abandoned camp, I set forth. Tronic told me that the old building was built immediately after the war. We in the old camp already? It looked like a kindergarten or like a barracks I expected. Like a barracks I expected, and definitely could hold fewer pioneers than today's camp. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. Ooh, that's spooky. It was not totally dark. The forest looked totally different at night. Mysterious showers were hiding behind the trees, strange rustling and cries of night birds coming from everywhere, branches treacherously snapping under my feet. The full moon was shining, so I decided to save the battery in the flashlight. I'm sure I will need it sometime soon. The further I moved, the more unpleasant thoughts came into my head. I wasn't afraid of the dark at all. I didn't believe in ghosts and other mystical crap, but at the same time, during the last few days, I had encountered so many incomprehensible phenomena, and that's a weird gap in that against my own will, I started to read between the lines of the simplest things. Obviously, I felt exceptionally uneasy in the forest at night. Everywhere I looked, every shadow, every tree or bush looked like weird creatures escaping straight from horror movies or from Stephen King novels. A branch seemed to be someone's hand, eager to grab your shoulder. A fallen log, someone's dead body, someone who failed to get out of the forest. In every gully, I saw a bottomless abyss. If I had found myself in this forest under any other circumstances, without these buses and pioneer camps, of course I would still feel uncomfortable, but then I would be able to explain everything with logic and be afraid of nothing except for owls and mice, of course. But at the moment, there were more than enough reasons to fear. Despite all this, I reached the old camp without any adventures. Oh, that is fucking terrifying. That is fucking terrifying. In a little glade surrounded by trees stood a house resembling a That resembles a kindergarten to you? That looks like a freaking warehouse. Paint peeled off the walls. Almost all the windows are broken. Broken masonry here and there. Holes in the roof that looked like those made by a bombing. In front of the building was a little garden surrounded by a rusty fence. Apparently once it was a playground with a merry-go-round, swings, slides, and other Soviet attractions. But time is cruel. All of them were broken and mutilated by corrosion. Did you guys hear that in the background? The grass was so tall that it almost came up to my waist. This is getting creepy. The moon looked out from behind the clouds and illuminated the old camp. What are you doing? Stop licking the floor, Papa. My dog's licking the floor. She's being weird. It seemed like everything came back to life. Windows shone with new glass and walls looked like they'd been painted with fresh paint. I heard playful laughter, I don't like that. I don't like that. That was terrifying. Playful laughter, saw translucent children joyfully running and frolicking in the yard. A strict camp leader on the threshold holding a basket with ripe apples in her hand. The old cleaning lady taking a nap in the shade. It sent chills down my spine. I'm freaking out. Of course, my imagination was just playing tricks, but the old camp itself was so similar to all the post-apocalyptic pictures I had seen that these visions were no surprise. I stood undecided for a long time before I dared to go further. After all, I'm here to find Shurik. Every little sound is freaking me out right now. Though I still don't get what he might be doing here. If he even is here. A boot somewhere nearby doesn't mean anything. However, if he was not eaten by wolves, for some reason it seemed like there were no wolves in this forest, this might be the only place where he might be hiding. What is that sound? I know this is just looping ambient noise, but it's creeping me out. I carefully crossed the yard, pushing the tall grass apart, trying not to bump into a jagged piece of metal. But I stopped in the doorway, hesitating. An impenetrable, heavy darkness stared back at me from inside. Even the bright moonlight could not illuminate any object, or even highlight a silhouette. My head was filled up with different thoughts. Was a sound that all said that it's better for me to not go any further and run away quickly. But I pulled myself together, turned on the flashlight, and stepped over the threshold. Oh, that is terrifying. I don't like that picture. Inside the building looked like a typical kindergarten. No, it does not. I still remembered my childhood days, and so everything here looked very familiar. Sleeping room with lines of beds standing. Is there a sleeping room? I can't tell. I just see a creepy chair in the doorway, and everything is freaking me out. Sleeping with lines of beds standing close to each other. A large playroom, toilets, a dining room, and utility rooms. Signs of the past children's joy were seen everywhere. From time to time, the flashlight drew my attention to a decaying doll, or a plastic toy car, or a punctured rubber ball, or a broken rank of tin soldiers. There was a book on the table, faded with age. I flipped through the pages. It was a story I had read long time ago, back in my childhood. Something about the war. Enemies destroyed the kindergarten and all of its kids hid in the little basement together with a bunch of adults while bombs were exploding up on the surface. I don't remember the end of the story, but as far as I remember, nobody died. Looking at the illustrations, all the emotions, fear, sadness, empathy for the poor children, and the sense of hopelessness which I had experienced while reading this book came over me. It's strange that under exactly these conditions right here now that I found this book. Probably there is somebody who manages this ongoing story, who writes the scenario for this absurd play, who sews costumes for the local pioneers and creates sets like this abandoned camp. Is he breaking the fourth wall slightly? I think he's breaking the fourth wall slightly. Kind of eased me out of the fear because he broke the fourth wall slightly. I kind of like that. He eased me out of being scared. To tell the truth, he is very talented. Attention is paid to even the most minor of details. He's breaking the fourth wall a bit. Although this place was abandoned a long time ago, everything here seemed to be untouched. Of course, time didn't spare this camp. So many years it had often been visited by the locals. Perfect place for young people just hitting puberty. They could drink alcohol, indulge in amorous pleasures, or simply burn anything down just for fun. Electronic mentioned this place is full of legends. Legends of ghosts and devils living here. Take for example the story about the camp leader who committed suicide. In my world, nobody would. It believed that this could stop somebody, but in this reality, anything is possible. Certainly the fear didn't disappear, but I decided that since I'd come here, I was going to carry on to the end. I don't like this. The building was small. God damn it! Right on cue, the dog is drinking water. Right as I start recording. So it's like she waits for like 10:40, almost 11 o'clock to drink water. You done? I apologize for the dog drinking water. I don't know if it's that loud. I think I listened back in recording. It's not. But still, I apologize. It's a weird sound. The building was small, so it was difficult to search it completely. But I didn't find any sign of Shurik. Maybe I should just call out to him. But on the other hand, maybe that's not such a good idea. Frustrated. Oh, God damn it! Frustrated, I sat on the bench in the lobby inside. Ghost, where are you? I asked the camp. And all of a sudden, I noticed a strange depression in the corner. I don't like this. A small trap door, an adult would barely be able to squeeze through it. And it seemed to me that it had been recently opened as the dust was cleared around it. And so here's the part where I need to be scared. So Shurik went somewhere. We might be lurking beneath the trap door. Basement? What would he be doing there? She scared the fuck out of me. God damn it. The freaking opening of the door scared me. Sorry, I knocked the freaking mic around a bit. I hit the mic as well. Pulled open the hatch and pointed the flashlight into the darkness. Where? Go lay down. There was a ladder going down a couple of meters, ending in a concrete floor. There was a low, narrow corridor disappearing in the darkness. I hesitated for a long time. On the one hand, I had absolutely no desire to go down there, but on the other hand, if Shurik was really there, I swore loudly and began to descend. Oh, that is a creepy-ass tunnel. Downstairs it was so dark that even the flashlight didn't help much. A low ceiling, wires extending along the walls, broken lamps clad in iron bars. The heat scared the shit out of me. I've all seen it all somewhere. I slowly started to move deeper into the dungeon. The path went down, and after a few dozen meters, ended at a stairway with high steps. Soon I found myself in front of a massive metal door. There was a sign painted on it. I looked closely and realized that it was a biohazard sign. No wonder if the old camp was built after the war, it had lasted until the 70s. So it's an ordinary bomb shelter, and there is nothing to be afraid of. However, those thoughts made me even more scared. I made a decision and opened the door. What is with this? I hate that. Why are there such loud sounds? It immediately shut with a sharp sound as soon as I stepped through the doorway. I shuddered strongly, with hands began to tremble and my vision dimmed. Oh, hello, kitty. My cat's behind the computer. I regained consciousness after a few seconds, and only then did I realize that apparently a strong spring was attached to the door. I found myself in a quiet, spacious room. In the beam of the flashlight, And look, there's a light on over there, but not really. The beam of the flashlight, I could see a bunk bed, some cabinets along the walls, and several devices of unknown purpose located in the far corner. It seems that this bomb shelter has never been used. Nobody ever came here. The beds were made, which is strange in itself. I carefully looked around the room several times. The cabinets were filled with gas masks, chemical protective suits, dry rations, various domestic odds and ends. I'm sleepy. Harsh. The devices which at first could determine the purpose of were gauges of radiation, air pressure, and temperature. Hit the wrong button. In short, it was a typical bomb shelter. I'd never seen in such a place before, but it was how I'd imagined it. The only thing that remained unexplored was the door at the other end of the room. I pulled the handle, but the door remained closed. If someone recently came down here and he wasn't found in this room, then it would be logical to assume that he is behind this door. I called out in a whisper, "Shurik!" No reply. Maybe he locked himself out, but why? It was unclear what I should do next. Perhaps it would be the smarter to come back tomorrow with help. But for some reason I had the feeling that behind this door I would find answers that can't wait to be found. I walked across the room and took a crowbar from the corner. I wedged it under the bottom of the door and tried to rip it open from its hinges. I don't know if that's how it works. Oddly enough, after a while, I did just that. Fortunately, it wasn't as massive as the previous door. It wasn't as massive as the previous door. The door gave out and slammed into the floor. I took a deep breath and pointed the flashlight down the passage. A corridor vanished in the darkness, the same as the one in which brought me here. The walls were closing in. My head almost touched the ceiling, but I could not make out the end of the corridor. I walked carefully, looking at the ground. This was the reason that I did not fall into the pit. Oh, the hole was about 1.5 meters in diameter, and there was earth at the bottom of it instead of concrete. It's more like tracks to me. Seems that the hole was caused by an explosion. It wasn't too deep. Oh, God. Whoa. Wait. Wasn't too deep. I could easily climb out later. It's a mine. As I jumped to the hole, I found myself in something that resembled an old mine. The walls and the ceiling were reinforced with wood beams. The tunnel was so long that my flashlight was insufficient. A few minutes later, I found myself at a crossroads. It's dangerous to go any further. I could get lost. Decided that it would be a good idea to somehow mark the place where I had begun my journey into the labyrinth. So I picked up a stone and made quite a big notch in the wall. So we go home. I got this out right. I'm gonna go right. It seems that there is another fork in the road. Left. Oh, is this the thing where I'm gonna have to figure out the correct passage? And it seems that there's another fork in the road. I'm gonna have to go left. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out the go right. I'm gonna figure out what's the correct thing. Left. Left. I came to some kind of miners' camp. Picks and helmets everywhere. A rusty wagon stood in the corner. all the items were so old they dated from the beginning of the 20th century rather than the middle. This is real. So this really is a mine. This means I could wander around here for ages without finding a way out. Oh, tell me I didn't have to remember what I collect, but I sensed that exit was somewhere nearby and went further. Oh, but it seems in the forking road. Right. So I took a wrong turn somewhere. Continue searching. Left. Right. It's getting laggy. Okay. So it's left, right, left, left, left. Left. God, it's freaking laggy. Seriously? I found it. Around one last turn, a door appeared from the darkness. Ooh, what is this? I opened it and went inside a small room. Nobody was here except Shurik, who sat in the corner. Shurik? He stared at me with eyes full of terror. Ah, don't come near me. Shurik, it's me, Simone. I won't give up so easily. He grabbed a piece of reinforced bar and from behind his back and started waving it around. Shurik, what's wrong with you? Calm down. First you bring me here, then you take me through this mine, and now you're pretending to be Simone? He must have been gone completely nuts. Shurik, calm down. Nobody's pretending to be me. I really am me. I tried to talk as calmly as I could, but I was almost feeling some nervous than him. Simone? He squinted. Is that really you? Yes, and now tell me what happened. How did you get here? Shurik recovered his breath and started to talk. I needed some parts for the robot, and I heard that there is a bomb shelter in the old camp, and there could be some instruments there. Couldn't think of words then, or read words, so I got up in the morning and went. Stopped for a minute, trying to deal with the trembling of his hands. I found suitable parts, but then I read primal fear in his eyes. The voices, they told me to go here. I went down the mine. Then they were telling me to go to the right, then left, then right, then left, then right, then left. He started to laugh hysterically. And now they won't get me. I'll stay sitting here. They won't find me here. He once again started to wave his pipe in the air. Shurik, there's no one there. He spent quite a lot of time walking in the mine like you, but didn't hear any voices. He fixed his eyes on me. Then you're with them. Oh, hell no. Shurik rushed towards me. I was just barely able to dodge him. But the flashlight wasn't as lucky and took a full force of Shurik's blow. We found ourselves in complete darkness. Now it was my turn to lose my mind. What have you done, you idiot? I lashed out with my hand in the direction where I expected Shurik to be, but to no avail. Now we will both die here. I got nothing but silence in return, and then a quiet, hysterical laugh. It's all right. That's fine. I know where the exit is. Follow me. Follow you where? I can't see a damn thing. Follow my voice. I had no other choice. Here. Shurik's voice was heard somewhere further on. How do you know where to go? I walked all over here. Why didn't you leave? The voices. Quiet. They can hear us. In theory, I could believe that there are some supernatural forces here. In the Soviet camp, they'd just be a daily occurrence. But there was no reason to panic yet, though my hands were shaking nonstop. Here. I slowly followed his voice and eventually lost track of time. We could have been roaming for a few minutes, for a few hours. Only a dim light appeared in the distance. Damn it. In the distance. Okay. We're here. He reached the wall. We reached the wall. Oh, that was clever. We didn't have to actually go back. We didn't have to make the decisions again. We reached the wall. The way towards freedom was blocked by a lattice on the ceiling. I don't know what that is. A lattice? I pulled myself up and recognized the square from the bits of landscape I could see. Lift me up. Shark obediently followed my request. Scary sound. I started to hit the grating with my fist so hard that in just a few strikes, my arms were all covered in blood. But in return, the grating gave way and pushing open. And a minute later, we were out of the surface behind the monument of Genda. And I saw the grating before. I had no idea that I could be catacombs below it. There could be. They will come for you. I fell to the ground, exhausted. Who? They will come, said Shark again and ran away. I was so exhausted I could not even be bothered thinking about some voices or recalling the forsaken camp, the bomb shelter, or the mine. Almost unconscious, I reached the camp's leader's cabin, but I couldn't go to bed right away. Well, look who's here. Olga. I stared tiredly, attempting to cut the explanation to the minimum. You said you were going for a walk, but instead, and I was going to go and call the police. And Olga, can it wait until tomorrow? I'm really, really tired. Gambler eyed me all over. Okay, fine. I was a bit surprised that she agreed so fast, but decided not to waste this opportunity and quickly turned the lights off and darted under the covers. I swear to God, if I start hearing fucking voices through these fucking headphones, I'll throw them. You better not wake up to any fucking voices. We ran. Ran with the last of our strength. Like those who run for their precious lives. Like a doomed person knowing that there is no hope to save his life, will still fight the inevitable and his own fate. I barely managed to close the heavy metal door behind me. What? I have no idea how deep this bomb shelter is or if it's able to withstand a nuclear blast, but we have no other place to hide. She gripped my hand tight. Don't be afraid. Bits of ceiling were falling and the walls were shaking. I was prepared for the worst, but death is the kind of thing that you can't be ever be prepared for. Who was the one gripping my hand? But suddenly, complete silence fell. It rang even louder than the explosion. Maybe it's time to say goodbye. She was whimpering. I wanted to comfort her somehow, but realized that there is nothing I could do. Yes, That's loud. Who's the person? A horrible bang almost split my eardrums. It seems that I'm under a piece of collapsed ceiling, but I don't feel any pain. All I want is to not let her go. Who's her? Don't wake up. Who was her? I woke up in a cold sweat, short of breath, and gasping for air. It took me some time to come to my senses. It was a dream. It was just a dream. My questioning mind, however, refused to believe it. But who was that girl with me there? Hey, Simone's having dreams of girls he doesn't know as well. I have those all the time. I didn't want to let go of her hand so desperately. Sadly, I couldn't recall her at all. The clocks was showing a few minutes past 10. Slowly came to my senses as reality started to stake out its claim on my mind, and my stomach foully growled. All right, war is war, but lunch should be served in due time. It turned out that Olga wasn't here. She must have decided not to wake me up. Well, thanks go out to our camp leader for this. After yesterday's adventure, I had to have a rest. Last night remained a blurry memory which I really didn't want to think about. It's now more important to find something to eat and to wash myself, exactly. Because a pioneer must always be clean and tidy. Though I would agree with the principle even if I wasn't a pioneer, and as a matter of fact, I'm not. It's electronic. On my way to the wash stands, I met Electronic. He started to wave his hand and ran up to me. Good morning. Thank you for finding Sherrick. Without him, I don't even... It's nothing. I was a bit embarrassed. No, really. Don't be so shy. The country must be proud of its heroes. And what about Sherrick? How did he look this morning? Is he alright? After yesterday's craziness, I thought such a question was completely valid. Yes, absolutely. The only thing is that he can't remember anything. Can't he? I wasn't surprised at all. He says that he went to the abandoned camp yesterday and then woke up in his bed in the morning. I mean, he remembers nothing between those two events. I see. Alright then. You missed breakfast, right? Come to our club. We'll feed you. I have something special. Tony smiled in a conspiratorial way. Thanks, I'll come, probably. I had to wash myself right away. We'll be waiting. Gotta check how long this has been going on for. And, whoa, a little bit longer than I wanted. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new, get 50 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.
Your magic white rabbit has left its writing on the wall. We follow like Alice and just keep diving down the